Hello ladies and gentlemen, Warcraft enthusiasts around the world, this is Neo, bringing you, like, Christmas coming early, I guess, since the PTR was patched this night. And we got some cool balance changes for 1.30.3, and this is regarding Night Elf, Human, and the Alchemist. So, basically everything we hope for. Without further ado, let's go into the changes, and let's start with Human, since at WGL, they were suffering hard. Whining about Human is all over Twitter, I thought. So, what kind of help is Blizzard giving the Human Alliance? It's regarding the Footman, it's regarding defense. Defense was nerfed quite a bit in 1.30. The bug was fixed that attacks were just disappearing, so the defense became a lot weaker than it was before. Now, with the new changes on the PTR, defense is almost as strong as it was before the nerf in 1.30. The damage reduction against piercing damage is increased from 50% to 65%. This will help them a lot against Dryads, against Fiends, in Mirror against Water Elemental, but that's not really damage, I guess. Maybe against Headhunters too, if they are played, but that's quite rare. I think mostly against Dryads and Fiends, this will help a lot. So, why is this very good? We saw it in patch 1.2 and prior, how dangerous some players are with Footman. For example, Infi and TH, of course, is the prime examples for the Human for the past 10 years, I guess. They built a lot of Footman, and they were able to hold on with Footman against higher tech armies for quite some time. With the nerfs on defense in 1.30, that was not the case anymore, because the tier 1 units were falling like flies. It was quite easy to take them down, with the damage reduction being only 50%. And that was of course a factor in not getting up an expansion anymore, which cripples the Human a lot these days. So with stronger Footmen, of course you have to invest into defense, but once you have it, I think Footmen are rather strong again and can help you buy time that your opponent is using to tech and to get better units. And this was especially a thing against Fiends, against fast teching Night Elves with Dryad play. For example, Moon did that a lot, or Life did that a lot. There's still issues with Human for sure. Maybe the mana pool, maybe the militia duration that everybody is talking about, but it's at least a sign that Blizzard realizes something is wrong with Human. Tier 1 is too weak, they can't get their old expansion style done anymore. So this will help for sure, in my opinion. It's not a major buff by any means, but certainly helpful. Coming from the Humans to the Night Elves, whenever there's a balanced threat, then everybody is whining about Keeper of the Grove and Mountain Giants recently. Keeper of the Grove got nerfed already, with entangle damage being a little lower, or the duration on heroes being a little lower, resulting in less damage, and the treant damage being a little lower. And there is a new nerf to entangling roots, so not only the duration on heroes is shorter, but the range has been decreased, which is a very interesting change, I think. It's down from 80 to 60. What does it mean? Before that, we've seen ridiculous entangles basically across the entire screen. Entangling Roots had the range of a coil. Now it has the range of a Stormbolt, which I think is pretty fair, because Stormbolt and Entangling Roots both are disabled. That means that the unit can't walk once the spell has been used. So the hero that uses it is able to walk to the target and attack it even more. So this helps to play around Entangling Roots a little, and on the flip side, or the other side, the Keeper has to be closer to a target to entangle. That means it's more approachable, or he is more approachable to enemies' attacks. And the Keeper is not a tank by any means, he's pretty squishy actually, but since he could operate from range so much, he was never really in danger. Now that he has to go to the action zone a little more, maybe there's more options to deal damage to him. Maybe there's more options to kill him early on to prevent that so dangerous level 3. So without nerfing duration and damage, I think this is once again, same as Defend, not a major change. Maybe it is a major change, actually, depending how well you're able to play against it. But once again, it's certainly helpful to play against a Keeper, which is the right direction. Next big target of Night Elves, Mountain Giants. They were dominating WGL, being so tanky and so obnoxious because you can't take them down. So Blizzard changed them a bit. They cost 7 supply again. That was the case before 1.30 as well. So Blizzard makes it a little harder to get to that critical mass of Mountain Giants because you just need more supply. And 7 supply is a lot. 6 supply is still okay. You can still mass it. 7, that's a really big part of your army. So the critical mass was 4 to 5 Mountain Giants. That was 24 to 30 supply in 1.30.2. Now that would be 28 to 35 supplies. So quite a bit more, which I like because I think the taunt mechanism in general is good and interesting and makes for good plays at times. But at one point you just can't play against it, and Blizzard makes it harder to reach that point to prevent that black hole of taunt that we see oftentimes in pro play. So especially before breaking upkeep, this should certainly help against Mountain Giants and open up new timings against Mountain Giants. Another thing we've seen is 4 Mountain Giants in a Zeppelin with sticks in their hands, dropped into an opponent's expansion or main base and just clobbering it down. This will change as well because the cargo size increases from 2 to 4, which is basically the same as a tank now. So you can only fit 2 Mountain Giants into 1 Zeppelin. So obviously you either need more Zeppelins or you can only send in 2 Mountain Giants. And against 2 Mountain Giants, it should be able to repair your expansion or to take them out because it's only 2, and then also the taunt isn't that effective anymore as it is with 4 Mountain Giants. So against these lame Siege Mountain Giant drops, I think it's a good change. Big criticism was also the tankiness once you research Hardened Skin. Hardened Skin is an upgrade for the Mountain Giants available on tier 3, and that reduces the damage by 12. It is supposed to work in a way that the damage does not get reduced lower than 3, but that was a bug, especially if you attack it with Rifleman. Oftentimes the Mountain Giant only gets 1 HP damage, and since they have 1600 HP, you can do the math of how long it takes to knock it down. So that bug is fixed. Hardened Skin isn't that crazy anymore as it was before. So it will be easier to take them down, even though it's just a little bit. Maybe they're still too tanky, but at least they cost more, and they're not as tanky anymore. Another bug is that if you use Taunt, and then your Mountain Giant gets killed or stunned, the second Taunt would still come off. You cannot disable the second Taunt, even if you kill the Mountain Giant. That has been fixed as well. I don't think it's a big issue, but you know, it was quite annoying. And that has been fixed, which is nice. Coming to the last change, and if you saw Night Elf games, then you know that alongside a Keeper of the Grove, oftentimes there's an Alchemist, and the Alchemist gets a little nerfed as well. The Acid Bomb gets nerfed. The damage over time is lower now. On level 1 it deals 2 DPS less, on level 2 deals 2 DPS less as well, and 1 DPS less on level 3. That means the total damage on a target is not 120 on level 1 anymore, but 90, 195 on level 2, and so on. It's okay. Especially for human, I think it should be fine. We've seen acid bombs going into the backline of casters, especially against priests. And if you throw an acid bomb into priests, they have to heal themselves. They use their mana on themselves, and then there's no mana left for the front line where the heal is necessary because the front line is supposed to take the damage. So the damage is lower, which is nice because I think that spell was seriously overpowered. It was a damage over time and an armor reduction in an area of effect. That's pretty crazy. And I think it's a pretty significant nerf as well, because it's now easier to heal against. We have seen human on tier 3 almost able to beat Keeper, Alchemist, Mountain Giant. With this change, it should be easier for human for sure. Also, maybe for orcs and undead. Basically everywhere. So making this a little more flat is a nice change. This does not help with the Poison Ivy combo, the hero focus ability of Entangle and Acid Bomb though, because the armor reduction is not changed. And so you can still apply the Acid Bomb, use the Entangling Roots, you have double damage over time, you have Lockdown and minus armor, a devious combo. They didn't touch that at all. So this combo is still very strong, even though it's a little less damage now, and the Keeper has to be closer. All in all, I think that the changes are very good. They go into the right direction, they target the right units and heroes, and they are not as big as they were before in patch 1.30, where basically everything was changed. It's smaller changes, and that is the way I feel Blizzard has to balance this, to see the effect of the single changes more. Is this too much? Does it need more tweaking? Does it need more nerfing on the Keeper, on the Alchemist, on the Mountain Giants? Are humans still bad? We can see this a lot better now than in those big patches like 1.30 was. So apparently Blizzard has learned from the mistakes they did with 1.30. I don't know if the changes are enough. We have to test it. We can test it now. The patch is available on the PTR right now. I hope hosting works. I have not tested it myself yet. I hope the server in Europe for the PTR is up and usable. You have to test that, we have to test that, and then we have to send our feedback to Blizzard to make sure that maybe after the holidays they will apply the patch as fast as possible and we finally get rid of this annoying, overpowered Keeper meta and make the Keeper of the Grove still a good option, but not the only option maybe, and make it a little easier for the other races to play against him. In general, I'm very happy with the changes. It might not be the ultimate solution, but we're getting there. I hope you like the changes as well. Write it in the comments. What would you change? What is your thing that annoys you the most? Do you think it's enough? Do you think there's other topics that have to be addressed in terms of balance? Just let us know. We will send it to Blizzard, of course, as we always do after those patch videos. And I hope to see you guys on stream for the BREC this weekend. And if not, then have a lovely Christmas and nice holidays. See you then.